needed to being able to start the live stream. What the heck? What the heck? Should go just from the first attempt, not 3 times. Anyway, that's me complaining about Streamlabs. All right. I've just noticed. Yeah, I'm not mentioning the static noise. Not mentioning that one. Right, C6 seems to be. So what we watching now is Prague white and Ding the Rim black. All right, C6 seems to be forcing the bishop to dropping. Probably bishop E2, right? Well, probably like the only move available anyway. Another important stuff here is that Nakamura just drew with Magnus Carlsen. Therefore, they're going to be playing an Armageddon. Hello, Zoom Chess. Hello, hello, Raven. Long time no see, my friend. So we're going to see an Armageddon now with Nakamura and Magnus. Zoom Chess, Bishop F1 seems to be playable as well. Frankly, you just got two options, E2 and F1. F1 is just that kind of move. I don't want to move my pieces back. On the other hand, maybe it's important to having the rook being on the E file. So that might be just very well. That might be. Bishop F1. Okay, it might be a little bit extra defensive layer along this diagonal. But also Bishop E2, mind you, Zoom Chess. Bishop E2 could be also in relation with some Bishop G4. Or if you want to relaunching something, that might be doable. By the way, let me refresh the page, making sure I actually... he didn't move yet. He didn't move yet. Therefore, your idea with Bishop F1 could happen, after all. Could happen. That Bishop F1, Bishop E2. The Armageddon should be in a minute now. You can see it on a screen. If you see the draw right here on the upper left-hand side, left corner here, you see Nakamura Magnus draw. Therefore, they're going to be playing another one, Armageddon, who should be any minute, really. And I'm going to try to focus on that one maybe a little bit more because there's just 17 minutes in total. The Armageddon. So I really want to see who's going to be on the first place today because practically I think Magnus is in the lead now with Nakamura right behind him. So the Armageddon will offer a clearer picture who's first and who's second. Again, after the 7th round. And I don't think so. I think it's very equal-ish. This bishop looks at the h3 and the bishop on e2. Okay, well, it's going to be a little bit passive now. But there is also this from white. I think it's equal-ish, defensible, playable for both colors with some ideas. I guess the knight on b6 would like to go to d7, maybe f6, if I'm correct. We might be looking at all sorts of ideas that I've depicted already. Knight e7, knight f6. Is that playable? Or do you want to go knight c8, knight d6, knight c8, knight d6? That might be another idea. There are many ideas shuffling those black knights. So just to answer the question simply, I don't think black is or white is massively better. I think they're equalish. It could be a margin, Zoom Chess. It could be a margin of 0.30 plus or minus, but I don't think huge difference. Yeah. We'll see about that anyway. You're rooting for someone, Raven, today, if he's still there. You're rooting for Magnus, rooting for Nakamura, for Prague, or somebody else in this tournament? Bishop f1. Bishop f1, exactly as been indicated by yourself. I guess he wants to maintain the rook on the e file, amongst others. And yeah. Maybe you want to play g. It's not very clear. Probably that's playable too at some point. Notice how g6 can't be played because h6 is hanging completely. So he gotta be careful. The g pawn can't really be pushed. You can't push that pawn. Can't be played. And I have to keep an eye on Magnus and Nakamura because I want to see the Armageddon in between the two. So that one is cool. All right. Let's see the second game here. Fabi and Ali Reza. Hey, what's going on here, fellas? It's been a sacrifice. Hey, guys, it's been a sacrifice here. Definitely, because I can count the material now. By the way, this is the first time I'm opening the game this afternoon. I can count now 3 minor pieces, and I notice 4 black minor pieces. And I guess he sacked a piece on the g5 at some point. I can read on a screen now, knight g5, hg, bishop g, pinning the knight to the queen. Pinning here. So he gave Fabi, interestingly, you wouldn't say Fabi does this kind of stuff, right? You wouldn't say he does it. Fabi sacrificed, sacked the knight for 2 pawns. Can you believe that? Now, looking at it, how exactly are you going to kick the bishop? Well, you can't. On the other hand, can't you just move the queen, or can you improve somehow? Do you need to play knight e7 and then knight g6? I'm looking for ways to figure out if black can actually defend stuff here. You would like to having this guy from c6 if possible here, right? But easier said than done. Easier said than done. Yeah, you need to sit down and look at this carefully. Can you play queen out of the pin? If the guy takes, you're gonna take. Okay. If black manages to defend this, you're gonna win. If Fabi doesn't come with a... oh, yeah. Of course, it just dawned upon me, guys. Of course, white would be happy to push the f, but it cannot because of this guy. And if you go on the h, you got a problem with this rook. So you do want to open up the f file for the rook. That, of course you do. But how are you going to do it? Do you accept moving king on the h? Having the king exactly what the rook is? It looks quite dangerous. Moving on the h. Yeah, there is a pin there. I'm not sure if it was a sound sacrifice. Okay, let's say black king is exposed, but what attacking chances you've got now? Practically. Can you shut off the bishop? If you manage to shut off the black bishop on a7, you might be able to pushing the f pawn. So can you make sure the bishop on a7 is no longer contributing with anything? Can you play d4? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, you cannot play d4. Or maybe just for a short period because they're going to be capturing. Is this part of the plan? d4, pawn takes, push. I'm not sure that works. Knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes. Maybe-ish. Maybe. You need more power to be attacking on the king side if you're white here. But how exactly are you going to achieve that? Again, the compromise, if you want to get the f file open, you will have to move king over to h because there is a bishop on a7 stopping you from pushing the f pawn. So, how's going to happen? Can't push the f, right? What else? Knight f5, but do you really want to trade pieces now? Knight f5, bishop takes, pawn takes. I'm not sure you want to trade off that guy. Because knight on g3 actually defends against the rook coming over to h5. Well, is the queen here, right? But maybe you want to move the queen. Well, very many maybes. Very many. So we've established you can't push the f without moving king over to h, and moving the king to h places the king on the most undesirable column ever because that's where the black rook is. So king to h1 is not that great. I really I'm very curious to see what he has in store here while Fabi wants to play. I'm really curious. Black needs to defend and try to get out of the bad position. The Black King's position is not that great. If that King managed to reach safety, whatever safety means, he'd be good. He'd be very good. And also getting rid of the pin. How? How does Black get rid of the pin? That might be a question. H3. Do you know why he played it? I think I might have a little bit of an answer. H3, although crazy as it is, because he might be enticing Alireza to play crazy tactics like bishop takes H3, HG, rook takes. I mean, just look at this one. Bang, bang, and boom. Maybe. I'm not sure it's very sound again, but maybe you can make a battery and stuff. So that one is another thing. We need to sit down and calculate that one. But I think Fabi would love to getting the king here and then push the F. Sorry, that's the only thing I can think of. So the whole idea for white was to open up the F for the rook. You can't do this having the king on G1 because of the bishop on A7. So H3 to making space for the king. Now another question would be, my friends, if Black can consider bishop takes H3 right now, which changes the game again, completely. Bishop takes H3, pawn takes H3, rook takes H3. And the prospect would be getting queen over to H8. Does that work? And when you move the queen on H8, you're no longer in a pin, that is. You know, can we play in this fashion? Well, he's got 1 hour 20 minutes, Alireza, so plenty of time for him to figure out what to play here. Plenty of time, of course. Let him think. So I would say you either take on H3, assuming the complications, or try to think about what's the antidote against F2 to F4, because if white takes, then you're going to have double pressure on F6, and I'm not sure how you're going to be dealing with that. I don't know. I don't know how you're dealing with that. Can you play knight E7? Knight E7, F4 happens regardless. Nah, you gotta figure out something else. Very sharp. By the way, guys, just a reminder, Magnus and Nakamura are going to be playing Armageddon very shortly because they drew. Therefore, the rules require them to be playing Armageddon. So there will be 10 minutes for white, 7 minutes for black. 10 minutes for Magnus, which is in a must-win, and Nakamura with black, 7 minutes, just to draw required to win. This is just super exciting. So we're going to be focusing on that one. In the minute they touch the pieces, we definitely have to look at that one. And now, guys, if you don't mind, let's survey the Prague and Dingley-Ren position. Surprisingly, Dingley-Ren is 1 hour 25. Is he moving faster than Prague? I mean, I'm happy if he plays. Hey, I did say that one. It was our friend who was that Zoom Chess. I was telling Zoom Chess previously that actually I would play bishop to A3, making a temporary pin. Temporary because if you move the rook is no longer a pin, or if you shut off, but you can't shut off, you can't close the diagonal. Therefore, you gotta consider moving rook if you don't like the pin, or ignore the pin and do something else, namely knight F6. Can you do that? Asking for a friend, knight F6 attacks the queen. Attacks the queen, right? It does attack the queen, of course. Knight F6, queen has to go. You still have to get out of the pin. You need to get out of the pin because you also may like to play some queen to B6 at some point. Anyway, bishop G6 attacks the queen. Okay, that attacks the queen. But you know what else it does, guys? Bishop G6 not just attacks the queen, but also opens up the F. I mean, it's worth noting all these little details. They do make a huge difference in the game's evolution. all those little stuff, the little subtleties, they have major effects on the game's evolution for sure. So again, bishop g6 attacks the queen at tempo and opens up the f. And let me tell you something interesting. If queen goes to h4, guys, you're just simply playing knight f5. Nah, you can't do knight f5. Actually, you can. Queen takes and rook takes. Maybe-ish. That requires some further investigation. Anyway, the onus now is on white. Yeah, it's good to have opinions. Hello, Neiman. You're free to have opinions. They may or may not be the objective truth. No one knows, but you could have as many opinions as you like. Yeah. Nice opinion. Bishop g6. So queen has to go. Queen has to go. Where? Well, that's another question. If you go h4 is one stuff, might be allowing black some knight f5. If you go someplace else, well, that means something else. You could still do maybe maybe queen to g4 in terms of remove the knight that defends the bishop, and maybe you grab a bishop in the process. You never know. But actually, if you do queen g4, they could still attack you. Maybe bishop f5 again, or the other knight on f6. The other knight on f6, of course, the other knight. So if queen g4, knight f6, and then you have to move queen again. So I'm not sure. You got to play this one carefully. Where would you move the queen? That's a better question. Do you have an opinion on this one too? NHS54. Do you have an opinion on this one too, whether you move the queen? If you know, that is. And if you can answer, maybe you cannot, maybe you don't want to, that's fine. Queen g4, okay. Now, because the queen is here, again, we have to be careful about this knight, because if that knight on e7 disappears, the bishop on g6 is gone. So you gotta act now. And also there is another thing about a possible check. So king moved away. Now king defends the bishop. So if you want to take the knight or not, it's irrelevant in terms of attacking the bishop, because the bishop is defended by the king. It's still in a pin. And let me tell you something else. It's one of those things where this bishop is incredibly active. So I'm not sure that Prague actually will trade the knight with this active bishop. The knight pinned is just a pinned knight, which is not that strong as the bishop on a3. So what do you think, guys? Your opinion on this one? Would you take the knight or just try to generate other attacking ideas? Also, be mindful that there is a knight on f6 coming, and you have to move queen again. I think you can stay in that pin maybe for a move or two. Depends what white plays. Everything is always dependable on your opponent moves. You can never ignore them. I mean, it's good to have a plan like knight e7 goes to f6, attacking queen on g4. Of course, you can think about that. I don't think that's a problem. But let's see what Prague, what resources he manages here. I think that's a nice move, king h7. It's really good. It's good to defend the bishop. It's really good. Moving away from a potential queen e6 check and king on g8. I think that's very good. And knight f6 is definitely playable. You can't really stop this. And let me tell you another thing. If the pin disappears ever, I don't know, I mean, if bishop takes or you move the rook away from the pin or something, there is just as a potential idea to attack queen b6. Again, not whilst the knight is in the pin. I'm not saying this now. I'm saying if the knight weren't in the pin or something, queen b6, it's a little bit of a good attacking idea because it goes for the b3 backward white pawn, which is a little bit weak. And white will have to play something rook b1, I guess. Stuff like that. Just as an idea. If knight on e7 no longer pinned, being traded, or heck knows what happens here. We'll see. Yeah. Hey, they started the Armageddon. No way. No way they started Armageddon. So Magnus is in a... Oh no, Magnus is black. So actually he needs just to draw. Magnus only needs to draw. Hikaru plays with white. So Magnus draws and actually he wins. He'll be in the first place. Nakamura has to win if he wants to be the first after the round number 7. That is, guys. So looks to me after d4 he retreated knight e2, of course. Move the bishop away. Extra defense for the d4 pawn. No longer rook hitting that guy, so you don't need to keep pieces to defend. But most importantly, he places actually the bishop on this diagonal. So let's just be maybe a little bit more clear about that bishop on c5. Bishop c5 actually places himself here. That's what's important. With or without this bishop. So, okay, probably bishop b6 one more time in order for you to be able to generate this kind of ideas at some point. But anyway, let's take it one by one. Bishop c5, the best square. You didn't do great things anyway. Here. Right, so bishop b6 on this diagonal is probably the most effective to finding himself. Okay. What is Nakamura going to play? Is he going to play prophylactically king h1? No. He plays knight to f4. Of course, he would like to replace the rook, but now the black knight just challenges you. So the things have changed, my friends. If Nakamura wanted at some point to replace the rook, it's no longer possible now because they're going to be sort of trading, right? Knight's going to take knight, queen's going to take, and then you have to figure out where to place the rook. No, you don't do neither. If you take this guy, I'm going to take your queen. That's just phenomenal. That's just phenomenal. You want to lose the queen? Take the knight with the knight. This is just phenomenal. Look at this one, guys. Knight takes f4. Oh my god, these guys are crazy. Can you play this? Yes, of course you bloody play it. Wait. He played actually rook to d6 check. King's gonna move and now... Okay, this is just insane. Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What's the compensation here? This is just a crazy game. Magnus is on 2 minutes. He's actually blitzing. Literally, he blitzes now. And Nakamura has gotten 7 minutes. The only ticket that allows Magnus to hope is this guy that might be pushed. But you have to play bishop b6 first because you can't push the pawn now. You push the pawn now, bishop's going to take your guy. Just game over. There is another thing. This guy is on pre, so to speak, right? Also, Nakamura wants to grab on b7. This is incredibly sharp. Very sharp game. And there you go. Queen b7, exactly as I said. Queen attacks the knight. This is a crazy game. Queen attacks the knight. So if you take here, queen is going to take on c6, attacking both knight on g6 and bishop on c5, both of them simultaneously. Can you play this just for the sake of keeping things under control for a while? That would be a massive outpost. And if he ever takes your bishop, it's naturally defended. Looks to me bishop e4 would be the safest thing. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Bishop b6 solidifying itself massively. Magnus needs to do something with the knights or maybe with the rooks. Absolutely super sharp. Very sharp. It's so sharp I don't even know what to look at first. What do you play? Do you play something on a 6? Do you attack the queen? Do you attack the queen like this? Do you attack the queen like that? Maybe you want to attack the queen, then getting c7, then very difficult. What did he play? Bishop b6? Okay, the move he wants to play is this, guys. In case you're wondering, the intention is a4 to a5, attacking the bishop. Very important. Now, is he going to hit the queen? He played the knight. That means if you push the pawn, I'm going to take with this guy. So you can't push the pawn. You can't push the pawn. And also the knight gets closer to the attacking ideas. amongst many other things. Anyway, you got to be careful about S. And the knight just does it. The knight on c4 stops any a5. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Queen hitting the knight. Again, if you play knight here, we might see this. Very important. And also queen to a6 demotes any possible knight a2 in case you are thinking to play. Just stops it. It just stops it. Wow, what a crazy Armageddon. Now, this is the game we are all longing for, my friends. Knight moved away from being attacked, hitting the bishop, which, by the way, the bishop on e4 is an incredibly active bishop. Very active bishop, like seriously active. a5, we did say it. This guy's going to be attacked, harassed by the pawn. We did say that. Bishop goes to safety again. Question again being addressed over to the bishop. Magnus wants to eliminate that bishop for sure. The black bishop is defendable by some rook, so you need not worry about this. The rook here defends. The rook on c8 will defend the bishop. There is still two troublesome knights. Problem for Magnus, 1 minute. Good stuff for Hikaru. He's got 4 minutes and something. That matters? Absolutely does matter. It absolutely does matter. You get with the Nakamura in a scramble like this, with the minor pieces hitting everywhere, and you're having just a few seconds on your clock. This is enormously difficult. Very difficult. Now Nakamura gives the thought. What do I do? Bishop e7 he played. He didn't want to trade the active bishop. We did say that bishop is an active bishop. He didn't want to trade. I'm looking for the ideas that attack something. I'm just trying to imagine if I can attack things. Okay, knight b3. Okay, knight b3. Fine. And amongst others, guys, the bishop on b7, I guess white plans in principle to push a6 at some point and make those guys together in that beautiful structure. Pawn being pushed down, that means I want to attack your guy that defends. Now, if you're going to take, black knight's going to take back, that's a must. And then he's going to take off the bishop for sure. And there is still a passed pawn for the time being, my friends. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating game. Look at this beauty. Again, if bishop takes, knight takes, attacks queen and bishop at the same time. You're going to move the queen to safety. I'm going to take your bishop. You're going to take back. That's exactly what happened. You're going to have to move the queen. And the black knight's going to have to take this guy. Of course you're going to take it, right? Unless you have something else in mind, but I seriously doubt it. No, he took exactly as I said. Queen b7, rook f8, try and take advantage. That's a passed pawn. 1, 2. Oopsie daisy. Oops, that is definitely a way to attacking Nakamura. And now he's playing bullet. Magnus plays bullet chess. Nakamura still in the blitz condition of the game. d2, rook e1. That's what I think is the normal way to continue. There is a problem with this guy, of course, and a problem with the other guy. Of course. If you're losing the pawn somehow, if black loses the d pawn, I think you might be in official big trouble here. I mean, queen with 2 passes on A and B file, you got a massive problem. If this plan doesn't work with d2, rook e1, I don't know what works. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. Being black here. Kicks the knight away. It doesn't give him a moment of peace. He still pushed the pawn. He had to. Exactly as I said. If that one doesn't work, nothing else works for black. Just to show you guys, if pawn takes, we're going to see this one for sure. It still could be played in this fashion, I guess. You take the knight, rook checks you, you move up, they take. Still playable because the black rooks are disconnected. Black rooks are disconnected. We might still be thinking of that one. You don't have to take, obviously. If you take the knight and then check you, you're not going to take the rook. You're going to move king. They're going to take you. Rooks are disconnected. Can you save it somehow? Can you? And this is such a big question. No, he didn't. What did he do? Wait a second. He didn't take the knight. Believe it or not. G3, D2. Queen B4. Rook D4. Crazy. My days. Rook takes. Rook takes. You got a problem. Even if you, okay, if you're black, you're in a little bit of trouble here. Do you know why? Because of those pawns. Even this one, I think, wins for white. I think he wins. I think he wins for white. You just play the pin, take the, okay. He pushed, okay, probably rook e2 might have worked, but anyway, those guys are, looks to me, are a little bit unstoppable. As soon as they reach the 6th rank, you can't do nothing. You're going to push a6, I guess. And then when rook comes here, he's going to play this. I suppose. Of course, you could do rook now. It's one of these two. It's either a6. Okay, he went behind the pawn. Okay, he's going to push the pawns. He's going to push for the pawns. b6, a6. He centralizes the king. Never a bad idea. Get the king, get the king. Okay. Okay, get the king in action. Oops, you can't get in check, right? Pushing the b6. Actually, Magnus is playing bullet. He's just playing bullet chess. Therefore, we're going to see bad moves. Probably we're going to see a blunder. Someone's going to blunder big time. Also, pawn majority on the king side, ladies and gents. Pawn majority. One pawn extra matters very much because you're going to be creating a pass pawn on the king side as well. Not just on the queen side to passes, but extra passer on the king side. There you go. He's undermining those things. I think Nakamura's going to win, fellas. I think he's going to win because too many pawns. It's just too many pawns, right? He's going to take the pawn on h6, I guess. You're in check anyway. I mean, you're in... Oh, you could go back and defend? I think you got to... What is this? Yes, of course, Nakamura won. Oh my God, Jesus. Oh boy, yeah, he won, of course. It's just too many passed pawns here. That's it. Crazy. What a crazy ending. My God. What a crazy ending. How do you stop the pawns? You can't. What's going on? Did he get flag? He lost on time. Look, king h4. I did mention king h4, king h6. But I can see here, I'm reading on a screen. You guys, you could tell me if I'm wrong or not. I'm reading on a screen. Hikaru won. Yeah, Hikaru won because if you draw, sorry, if black draws, wins. So Hikaru was white. The game was a draw. Sorry, I don't understand the bloody thing. What's going on here? I'm reading on a screen. Armageddon results. Hikaru won the game. Hikaru won the game how? How did Hikaru win the game? Because Magnus resigned or something? Because Magnus resigned? What? That's the only one that makes sense, Zoom Chess. That is the only explanation that makes sense to me. Because he got flagged. He really did get flagged. I mean, the game is still continuable. I mean, you just play your chances, you know. King h4, you take the pawn, they're going to take here. They're going to attempt to take this guy here. You're going to try to... anything, you know. And actually, you got to be careful because if this guy disappears... Oh, you could do so many things. Well, you better take the black pawn. Okay, the engine says... The Stockfish says it's actually an absolute draw here. It's not even a little bit of a 0-0-1. It's complete draw. So I would say Magnus lost on time. And the game anyway was explosive. The game was absolutely explosive. And as you can read on the screen, there was at least a blunder. and probably some inaccuracies. Fabulous stuff. Let's go now to the other guys that are still playing, disputing their games. So he probably got flagged. That's crazy. It's a little bit frustrating to having a drawn position and then to losing because you lost on time. But time is a clock, as we all know. In chess, you lose because of the time. And yeah, so if you remember, those of you that were here previously, guys, the rook was in a pin. The rook was on f8 and it was in a pin. So Ding decided to move out of the pin simply with rook f7, still providing support for the knight. Therefore, the queen is free. The queen is free. And if I'm correct, queen might be a little bit happy to place itself on b6 for this reason that I've highlighted on the screen. Queen b6 attacking b3, which will prompt white to play rook b1 defensively. Also, it's worth noting, very important, if and only if white decides to play rook b1, there is something funny with this pawn coming down the board. You either take or not. No one really cares because actually the bishop on g6 attacks the rook on b1. So this is very important aspect that needs to be understood here. Anyway, it is Prague's turn to move, but just to make it clear, I'm just trying to highlight good moves for both black and white. You know, I'm looking from both perspectives. So if you are to, you know, one very good type of exercise is just imagine yourself, where would you rather have your pieces deployed? So you need to figure out, okay, I like the black queen to be b6, to be on b6. Then you're going to think in what order, how you're going to get there. So yeah. And also I think for black would be good having a rook battery here. Oop, rook at f2. Just imagine this setup, my friends. Imagine queen b6 and rook here f8. I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable. Not just reasonable, it's quite aggressive. It's active. And it does attack stuff. And also, if possible, having the knight on e7 moved somewhere, because I don't wanna keep my rook defending this guy forever. But you know, you need to take it step by step. Maybe knight g8, maybe knight f6, but it takes like a billion years. I don't know. Maybe here, okay, it just takes too long. Anyway, queen to b6, rook a to f8, and I think it's a little bit decent. I think it's decent. We'll see. We'll see. As per white, you got to be careful because following queen b6, how are you going to defend? Oh, this is the answer. This is the answer. How is he going to defend b3? Simple. There's no one to be attacked because it's empty space. You've just played b4. If a takes b, bishop's going to take. You're not going to take with the pawn because if you take with the pawn, oops, rook's going to take. So black pawn takes, you don't take with the pawn, you take with the bishop, also maintaining the connection in between the pawns on the c and d. So this is important. Pawn takes, don't take with this guy, because it's going to be very bad. AB, bishop takes b4. And I think it's cool. I think it's good. This is the answer to queen b6 threat. By the way, you still have to move that black queen, and I guess... you know something? You can move the black queen on b6 right now. I don't care. You don't take. First thing first, if you're playing with the black pieces here, you don't take. Because by taking, you're helping white settle his position. You play queen b6, and you just stay there. Let them take on a5. When they take on a5, then you're going to take probably with the queen, exerting pressure on c3. If they want to play then the bishop, okay, you're going to go back b6 or something. So queen b6 still to be played, I reckon. Unless there is something else. And if there's something else, I don't know what that is. You guys feel free to tell me. You want to further harass the queen a little bit? Bishop f5, but to what extent? What's the stuff? You send the queen away. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Do you want to complicate it a little bit? Okay. Yeah, I appreciate, guys. Okay, let me just get some guys. Okay. Hello, Biswal. Hello, David. Yeah, so just looking for ways to getting the queen in the game and getting the rooks to actually forming a battery for the f2. So probably queen b6 would be just the right stuff to do. It might be. It might be. Maybe queen b6. Maybe queen b6. Queen b6, rook af8. Sounds like a plan to me. Sounds like a plan. Could it be, although it's an incredibly time costly one, and it's a little bit slow, a knight c8, knight d6, knight c4. No, you can't do this. It's just too much. No, you can't do this nonsense. No, that's awful. It takes three incredibly important tempi, and once you get to c4, they might just take you in a single strike. Boom. That's it. So I don't think so. No, we can discard that idea. This is bad. I'm going back to either queen c7, queen b6. I don't know what else. I'm not necessarily keen on capturing on b4. I just look at queen b6, queen b6, queen c7, queen b6. And then doubling the rooks. And that's for the time being. I think so. If you guys have a different plan, please do tell me. If you want to play something different here. Did they move? No. The Armageddon was crazy enough. The Armageddon is absolutely crazy. What a very tactical game Magnus played. And I think Magnus got flagged. Right. Let's see the other guys. Fabi and Alireza. Do you know, David and Biswal, you know that actually Fabi sacrificed a knight for 2 pawns on g5. He sacked in exchange. Let me just go back a bit. Here, look at this one. Knight g5, hg, bishop pins, rook h, h3 to playing king to h2 and pushing the f-pawn, and Alireza plays queen to g8. No more in a pin. And actually he hopes that if this guy takes, he's going to take in this fashion and then playing king here. Enormous pressure. Look at this. He actually wants white to take on f6. You probably noticed, guys. He actually wants Fabi. He hopes secretly that Fabi is going to take on f6. Because that means the black king moves away from the g file where the queen is. Rook is on the h. Bishop hits h3. The other secret bishop attacks on f2. This is a lot of pressure. This is enormous pressure. There is one little idea. How you fighting against queen f3? Can I propose queen f3? Frankly, I don't even know what else you're supposed to play with white. There's such a big trouble with this, and with this. I don't know what to tell you to play. But queen f3 being played by white, how do you respond to this? Are you going to give the piece for what we just said? Queen f6, actually king f8? Can I just ask if queen f3 actually king f8 regardless? This is serious. This pawn on f2, by the way, guys, probably you noticed the pawn on f2 is pinned. Therefore, the knight is theoretically takeable. Now, if the queen was on f3, the queen defends it. But maybe I can play rook h3? This is just so crazy. Looks to me if you don't play queen f3, I really do not know what else you're supposed to play. Well, you can take on f6 if you want to, but as we said, bishop takes f6 and black king takes, and that was it. You got nothing else. Actually, I think you're going to get pretty much executed here very quickly. So you either play queen f3 or I don't see any other ways to do anything for white. I don't know what you're doing. I really don't know what you're playing. Guys, feel free to tell me if I missed anything. I would suggest queen f3 for white. I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else. Queen f3, so, you know, I could take some stuff back. Maybe I can check. Maybe I can reinforce g2. What do you play? It's enormous pressure with the queen. Queen on g. Rook on h. And a bishop on c8. It's just a lot. And yeah, if you want to throw in the bishop on a7, that's just too much. The white king is attacked heavily. So as an act of desperation, queen f3. You can't even play f4 because the pawn is pinned. And even if you could, it's, again, quite bad. It's bad. Oof. That's gonna be very exciting and very tactical. Shall we go back to Prague and Ding Liren? Okay, let's see these guys again. Hey, Ding didn't move. And very, very good. Because yesterday he moved a bit faster and he blundered the checkmate in two. So maybe it's time to pause it for a while. Again, my 2 cents would be something like queen b6, queen c7. Yeah, there is here, but there is always this. So that's the saving secrecy here, which is not a secrecy as long as you understand it. It's no more a secret. Okay. Queen c7, queen b6. I don't know what Ding is supposed to do now, apart from what I said already. Guys, tell me if you're rooting for someone in particular. By the way, after today's victory of Hikaru is actually in the first place. He just beaten Magnus, who got flagged, I would suppose. So if it says on the screen Hikaru 1, Magnus 0, then Hikaru actually is leading the tournament. Yeah. Queen c7, queen b6. I like it. And this one, queen g8. So I think we should go just briefly to ladies tournament, queen f3. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave on the screen my candidate moves here, and we're gonna see if that's true or not. I don't like king h2. I don't like king h1. I mean, you could play them, but everything is a pain. I mean, whatever you want to move the king is just a pain. Queen f3 because I just don't see anything. I'm literally I don't see anything for white to play. I don't see anything else. And the other one. Hey, Ding actually played knight to f5. He played knight to f5. Okay. Knight to f5. He still needs to connect the rooks, right? Well, knight to f5 is not attackable. Supports a potential e3 being moved. I don't know when anything is going to happen on the next turn. Anyway, it's white's turn to play. That's not such a bad position. For black, I mean. And although although white is having the bishop pair, believe it or not, the bishop actually hits its own guy. So this bishop is a little bit not functional for the time being. You would have to move the pawn up or to capture in order to do some diagonal here. So you got to be careful when you're getting rook from A over to F. You got to be careful about this pawn going, so attacking your rook. So Ding has to be careful about that idea as well. I think I noticed something. Knight to F5, actually, do you know where you want to go? Knight to F5, he wants to go to D6, and then he wants to go to C4. That's what I think the plan would be. Yes, makes sense. It makes sense. It does. It does make sense. Totally. Maybe some b5 at some point. So knight e6 for knight c4 and b5. The broadly speaking idea. It might be the case. Okay. Let's see. As per white, I don't know what you're playing if you're white here. Bishop e2? Okay. Well, why? Why bishop e2? Rook ac1? Maybe. I don't like it. You move away, you need to stay on the A. I think Prague would like to pass. I think Prague would like to say, I don't want to move this turn. Can you just please continue? Is it a little bit of a zugzwang here? What do you think, David? Biswal, Zoom Chess, if you guys there. Do you think white is a bit, just a tiny little bit of a zugzwang? A very honest question. So guys, yeah, tell me if you think white is in a slight zugzwang situation. Well, there is b5. You can always push b5, right? Yeah, that's playable. Okay, b5, I guess it's playable. Being white here. This one probably is playable. For revealing the bishop's diagonal. And because it's your turn, you have to move. And I can't figure out anything else to play. Apart from b5. I don't know. If you guys see it differently, please do type in your suggestion. I'm happy to look at it. $40 for Prague and 1 hour 6 minutes for the other guy. For Ding Liren, that is. He didn't move nothing here. Okay, shall we go just very briefly to... so that's the Open. Let's go for the ladies' tourney. So who's playing whom? Vaishali playing his National, her National. Honero, Lei Tingje playing Pierre Kramling, Jun Jun, Anna Muzichuk. Okay, so let's watch the ladies here at the first table, first board. Okay, both kings are castled, two bishops, two bishops. This guy's a little bit over pawn. And the pawn is being attacked twice. But also this guy is hanging. The b2 is hanging, and this one is hanging, if I may express it. I think this one, the b2, is a little bit of a poison pawn. Okay, you gotta take. You have to take here, right? You have to take. If queen takes, you're gonna take the bishop, messing up the black pawn structure, and then you're gonna play rook b, going for the b7, and I think it's cool. I really think it's cool. So bishop has to take on e4, to my understanding. White's turn to play. So bishop takes. 4-3-7, 3-3-6. No, you have to take the pawn, and I think white's doing a bit better. The game is not over, but I think white's doing a bit better. Bishop takes e4. I don't know what you're playing. After bishop e4, I just took a pawn from you. Bishop takes e4. You move the bishop away. That means you give me another tempo to improve my position. You take my bishop. I'm going to take back with the queen. Again, I'm quite happy because b2 is a little poisonous guy, following rook b and then taking e and then threatening this, and you know, we can debate a bit more. Bishop e4. Yeah, that looks to me the first move to consider here, but you know, it could be something else perhaps. Didn't Laska said that when you found a good move, look for a better one, you know. The idea probably being not to blindly follow the first instinct to just, that tells you play this, play this, play this now, play this now. Especially if you got 56 minutes on your clock. Maybe you want to ponder a bit more, hold your horses, calculate once, twice, make sure you covered everything, and then go for it. Yeah, bishop e4 seems to be incredibly normal to play. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, the next one, Lake Ting GM Pierre Crumling here. Nice battery, very positional, very positional. A lot of pieces here. Whew. That's a ton of pieces everywhere. Everything is defended everywhere. I don't see a single weakness anywhere. Maybe a little bit of a4. How do you get there? And even if you were to move there, what would you do in practice? What exactly are you just going to do? That's not very obvious. It's a very equal position. I don't see any weakness. I'm sorry. I don't see any weakness. I don't know. Is it some H? But that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make a sense, but it's slow. Black can move, I don't know, H5? Maybe yes, maybe no. There's no weakness, neither white nor black. So the game is very, very, very playable for both colors. You got to sit down, look to improve things. I don't know, bishop d7, if that's an improvement. F6 to stopping any knight. Well, perhaps on this g5 square, if that alarms you to any extent. But then again, after knight f4, you're going to be weakening this guy terribly if you play f6. But then bishop d7 might be just defending it. So many questions. Anna Muzichuk, Ju and June here. Ju and June is the current world chess champion, women chess champion. H4 being played. Okay, H4 being played here. Well, if they take, you take back, right? Of course, you take back. That's a must. 3 minor, 3 minor, 3 to 5, 3 to 5. Probably a draw. That's probably a draw. This is probably a draw. Okay, let's go back to the open section. And okay, this guy's finished. Okay, Ali Reza. And Fabi didn't move a single thing. Believe it or not, guys. He didn't move a single thing. He didn't move nothing. He didn't move absolutely nothing. Queen c7, it's one of those moves that I said ages ago. So let's just take it step by step now. I like this game, actually. Knight f5. I do like this game. b5 for b takes a5. He did opt for b takes a5. Queen takes. Also threatening c3. Bishop b4 now being played. Defending c3. Attacking the queen. You can't take here because there is a rook. So queen has to go. Queen c7 does. Rooks are connected, but you still can't play because there is a bishop here. So you can't do it. Not just yet. There is an idea about this and maybe this. Maybe knight d6 for knight c4. What do you think, guys? Knight d6 for knight c4. Is that playable? Is there another? Might there be another idea? Let me know, guys, if you think there might be another idea. Okay. Knight d6, knight c4. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Is that good? What do you play, actually? Hold on a second. I have a different idea. What about this? And what about this? For black, that is rook e8 for pushing e3, supported by the knight and by the rook. Actually, I don't think that's a very bad idea. It is Praxton to move, but for black, considering rook e8 for e3 pawn. Just imagine a black rook was there and you push the pawn in this position. If white takes, you're going to play the knight. attacking queen and attacking the bishop a bit. And also opening up this bishop. Beautiful. So I think it's a good idea for black, for Ding. Rook e8 to support advancement of e4 to e3 for black. I think I like it. And you need to stay away from the dark squares so you're not getting hit by the bishop or anything. And I think it's a good idea for black. Actually, I like it. Rook a to e8 and then e3 if nothing else happens. And of course, you got to stay in touch with the reality of the position here. But all in all considered, I like it. I think it's good. I really think it's good. I think it's a good idea. Really is a good. Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. I don't see anything wrong with this. Looks like in the current position, actually, black attacks a bit more. Is actually having initiative and creating threats. Looks like Prague, not just half an hour less than Ding here, but actually he's playing slightly defensively. Interesting. Okay, so I really do think that's the right stuff to do for black. For white, again, I don't know what white is supposed to play here. How do you improve stuff? How do you improve? How do you attack? What do you play, actually? Can someone give me a plan for white? I mean, I think I've got a plan for black. Exactly what I've depicted on the screen here with the rook e8 and e3. That's a plan for black. Do you have a plan for white? Is there anything to play for white that has any very, a strong purpose, something, any valid, any strong idea for white? Well, okay, if it's not a strong idea, just any workable idea, a workable plan, something that has any meaning. Hello, I have the feeling that's just a slight weird situation of a Zugzwang, or you just play something because it's your turn. But I don't see anything that poses huge problem for black here, and white can just play it. I don't see it. Whatever you touch, it feels like weakens. Anyway, it's a bit too early to call it now, but I guess black is a bit more optimistic. Let's see if Ding actually managed to keep his wits and actually play the good stuff. Given the very big misfortune he had in the previous games, especially yesterday against Magnus when he actually missed the checkmate in two. So all things considered, I hope Ding is actually able to stay focused and to not succumb too quickly. Time is on his side. Time is on his side. And he just needs to stay focused and not getting excessively panicked or anything. I'm really curious about Prague's next move. Very curious. I mean, you can think about something like a5 just to play something, because frankly, I don't see what white is doing next. I'm not satisfied with anything. a5 would be that kind of a move that I played because I have to play something, but I'm not happy with the a5. I'm not happy with anything I would play for white here. I would be actually happy if I was white here, I would be happy to not move anything. I can play bishop e2, but I hate it because I'm cutting off my rook. I'm blocking my rook, so to speak. If I push the h pawn, I hate it because I'm subjecting to potential double attacks in the future. It's awful. If I move the rook on a file, I don't see anywhere where I could play it. Maybe just rook a2. Maybe just rook a2. Just to try to reinforce a little bit the possible f2. Or if I need to make a battery, maybe on the a file, or, Yeah, so maybe a5 or rook a2. I don't see anything else for white to play. Oh, yeah, David. Oh, actually, because I think we do have the exact perfect moment now, let me try and give a eval bar here for both white and black. I say it's a minus. I hope I'm not terribly wrong. I think it's a minus. It's a minus 0.40, 0.60. 0.60, 0.40, 0.60, maybe even more. And now let me see if I am correct about this. Bloody hell. Just make it double. Just make it double. Just make it double. Minus 1.3. Wait a minute. That was the verdict after h4. No, I was actually bloody correct. I said minus 50 minus, what did I say? 60. Minus 0.9. Because after Prague pushed, it went even more in black's favor. Because, guys, exactly, that was a Zugzwang, fellas. If you remember, my chess friends, Zugzwang is the position where whatever you move, it actually makes it worse. So that is the class. I mean, let me just go back a bit. This is the painful position that a chess player can reach. And whatever the heck they play, it actually makes it worse. So h4 doesn't do a freaking thing, doesn't do nothing. I mean, just nothing. And you've got the... I've explained previously, actually, that h4 would be a move that you could play, but it's just an awful move. It doesn't do absolutely nothing. I mean, okay, you could think about what, h5 or something, but he's going to play h5. So if you're thinking about pushing this guy, okay, he's going to play it anyway. He's going to play h5 and going to send your queen away. Where do you move the queen? Really, where do you move the queen? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Queen h3, queen e2, queen d1, but they are just awful moves. I mean, it's just horrible. Will this be the round after which Ding Liren scores his first victory? I would really be happy for the poor lad. I would really be happy, for this psychology, for his psychology as a elite chess player. That would be a massive impact. I think, there is a fair chance if he wins, he might be bouncing back. It's just important for his psychology. I think he conducted an exemplary game here. Even yesterday was enormous, was absolutely fabulous, until he actually blundered, you see. I don't know, he loses focus, he loses something along the way. So I hope he'll manage to stay applied, surgical, efficient, and clear. So yeah, and as per White previously, my assessment was correct. I said minus 60, minus 0.60, minus something, and it was minus 0.90. Okay, fine. And h4, I did say that it's just a horrible move. It just doesn't do nothing about anything. And black is definitely building up a better and better and better attack. I really hope for the best for Ding Liren here. And hopefully he's going to find a good continuation. Again, it's important now to push this guy, because if you don't, h5 is gonna happen, and you're sort of gonna drop a piece. So if you want to prevent that, you are in a must move here. h5 is a must, and the queen's gonna be forced away. After queen's forced away, you have full initiative, and I guess we could revert back to the plan with rook e8 and perhaps e3 if my evaluation was correct. It might be some other powerful tactical ideas that I'm missing, but I'm liking this one anyway. I think it's clear, it's neat, it's punctual, it just does the right stuff. And Let's see what Ding plays. I really hope he doesn't miss on this one. If he misses on this one, I'm sorry. I hope he won't. He's got 1 hour and 1 minute and something. Just give it a few minutes. Make sure you didn't miss anything, and then play the move that has to be played. Is there any other crazy tactics he's looking at now? Really? Does he want to play e3 straight away? Huh. David, I'm telling you, so I'm so much feeling for the guy. I just want him to win a game. So, probably it's purely out of compassion. I mean, I just want him to win against whoever that is. Sorry, today it happens to be Prague. I wouldn't care if it was Nakamura or if it was Magnus or if it was Fabi. I just want Ding to just get some victory today. I don't care who the other guys is. Just I want him to feel a little bit better about himself and stuff. So anyway, I think he played amazingly well until now. So I hope I hope he keeps it up. He maintains the quality of his moves, and he's gonna went on to win. He's gonna go on and win. So h5 is a must. Let's go quickly to the other one. What happened here? Hey, Queen f3, I said it ages ago, bloody ages ago. He's been staying for like, what? I was about to say he stayed 1 hour. I said Queen f3. I said Queen f3 so many times. It's the only one you could possibly think about playing. And naturally now, knight to e8. And guys, let me highlight knight to e8, if you would allow me, guys. What we're looking at here, and we're gonna play the game with the evaluation, and then thanks for following. I just heard that dingy thing. Thanks for following, my friend. We are looking now actually at a position in which rook is massively hitting here, together with the bishop. That's for one. Secondly, we've got a queen here, and the black king would be so happy to dropping on f8. And if you drop on f8, that reveals the queen as well. And you've got the bishop. Huge, huge attacking power. Enormous pressure from those pieces. Enormous. And now I'm going to play that little game before asking the engine. I'm gonna try to estimate it myself. I would think it's a minus. It's a minus. Black is doing better from a tactical, positional, and material point of view. Is just black should be winning. So I'm going to give it, guys, I'm going to give it a minus 0.90. Minus 0.90. Plus minus 20 more. Minus 0.90, minus 1.10. And now let's see how far or how close we are from the objective evaluation. I was a bit optimistic, but there is definitely a minus, okay? It is a minus 0.6. I said minus 0.90 because I'm excited by the bishops and by the rook and by the king. So it is definitely hello loud jazz. I absolutely do love jazz music as well. So yes, thanks for following. Probably you followed because I said that. Okay, that's good. So I do love jazz, and yeah. So let me just refresh. So bishop e. Oh yeah, if you're wondering, bishop e3 idea. Bishop e3 is a necessary gesture here because you need to remove this guy. That actually, you need to make sure the bishop does not exist because your pawn is pinned all the time. And in the eventuality of king f8 and some crazy taking a zone h3 or something, your pawn on f2 can't really capture whatever will take your knight. So it's good to try to counteract that bishop. So bishop e3 wants to say, please do take my guy. But there is something behind it. Hello, Lorem. There is something here. If bishop takes, which, by the way, I don't think it's a good idea for black. Actually, I think it's a bad idea. Do you know why? Because f would take, and suddenly, guys, you can count 3 attackers on f7. Sorry, but, you know, you could say about the game of chess that primarily, at its fundament, its bricks, founding bricks is just the counting attackers and defenders. You take the bishop, f2 is going to take on e3, and all of a sudden the bishop and the queen and the rook will be attacking f7 3 times. So you may want to reconsider. Bishop takes e3. You could, but maybe you could do something else. Maybe you could play something else. What that something else? Well, we can debate on that one. If it's king f8, to just allow queen to dream a bit more. If it's, I don't know, if it's a bishop e6. Let me just take the paint off the board so we have a clearer picture. No, not this one. That was a mouse slip. Let me just go back. So I don't think you should take on e3 because I don't think you should be helping your opponent to increase the attack upon your king. So you may just very well think about that bishop to play something. And we can actually debate a little bit here if you guys think, what did just happen here? Wait a minute. Queen f3, knight e8, bishop e3. Oh, nothing happened. Sorry, I thought they actually moved stuff. No, they didn't move. Is king f8 working? And after king f8, can you sack a bishop here? I think you seriously should be thinking about that one. Do you know why? They've already sacked the piece for your 2 pawns. I don't think it's a big problem for you to give the material back if that means you're going to be discovering the attack upon their king. So bishop takes on h3 might be a good stuff to play. I'm not sure if you need to play, because if you play bishop e6 first, they're going to take your bishop. So you really need to think, if you don't want to trade the bishop, just play bishop d7 so you can get the other rook to getting closer. But you got to be careful about this attack. So maybe you want to take first, but you don't want to take because they take with f and stuff. So maybe bishop h3 straight away. Bishop takes h3, pawn takes, rook takes. But after king f8. After king f8 because you want to have the rook here. Sorry, you want to have the queen attacking on the g file. And by the way, knight will be pinned absolutely because the g just took your bishop on h3. So the king is only shielded by the knight, who's pinned absolutely by the queen. So you definitely can think about bishop h3. I don't know if it's the most sound and the most accurate approach, but it's an idea. If you don't like it, then you could look at knight e7, knight e7, knight g6, knight f4. It'll take you like a billion years. That means 3 tempi. In chess, 3 tempi means a billion years. In case you didn't know the chronology of it, that's what it means. 3 tempos means a billion years or an eternity. It's pretty much the same thing. An eternity in chess is 3 tempo. That's that's another quote for the t-shirt. 3 tempi equals eternity. So knight e7, knight g6, knight f4. That is something. If you were to place the black knight from c6 on f4 now, if you were to just place it now as a game, just pick it up and put it on f4, and you will understand probably, you will actually see more clearly how powerful this knight on f4 would be. Coupled with the bishop and the rook on h3, attacking g2, after bishop takes h3, pawn takes and rook takes, I think you got a big problem here. So this knight c6 has to be on f4. But that will be costly. As I said, an eternity. 1, 2, 3. Should you do it? Should you do it? It's definitely worth it. Should you start earlier? That knight on f4 would be amazing. I'm telling you, it would be amazing, that knight on f4. So what do you think, guys? David, Love Jazz, Lauren, what do you think, folks, about 97, knight g6, knight f4? Is it worth it to waste 3 tempi to getting the knight on f4? Honestly, is it worth it? I think I'm gonna draw those curtains. They're getting really okay. Let me diminish the sunlight. Oh shoot. Serious? No sunlight at all. Ugh. Too much sunlight is not good. Not for me. Okay. Hey, what did happen here? King f8, okay. King f8, moving the king away, revealing the queen. Okay, that cool stuff. Bishop removes the other guy. And now, you know what's the painful stuff? You're going to have to use the rook, I guess, not the knight. And if you, whichever piece you move, you're going to have to, you know, waste some more tempo to get the piece back in the game. So if you play the rook, you're going to have to waste another tempo to moving them down. And then relaunch it. If you take with a knight, you're going to have to play the knight back again on c6 and then do whatever you think you want to do. So that was a nice little idea played by Fabi, which forces Alireza to take a piece back, wasting a tempo. That's cool. But also was important from Black's perspective to have the queen attacking on the G file. So that was important too. Do you take on h3 now straight away? I don't think so. You got to take that guy first. With what? I don't know with what. Yeah, rook. You're still gonna have to waste a tempo to get the rook back on a8. In other order, this and this still stands. The plan still applicable. Still applicable. After all, sorry, you've got 3 minor pieces. You've got a rook excellently positioned. You got a queen excellently attacking. Sorry, but this is just great. This is just great. It's great. It really is. And, oh, I think, yeah, we did do the game. It's minus 0.60 or something. It was at some point for Black. It's big advantage. The more you're trading pieces, so after you've sacked a piece and actually you didn't end up better or anything, I think that was a little bit unsound. The sacrifice that Fabi played was not the most wisest thing ever. And the more you're trading pieces, the more the other guy stays with the advantage on the board. So there's nothing that's going to be very positive for White if they keep trading off pieces here. And now you're very limited. You can't play the knight. If you move the rooks, that doesn't mean anything. If you move the king or h1 or h2, doesn't mean anything. The white knight, that's the best he can do. The best he can do. And the queen here, the best they can do. But I'm already having 2 defenders. Of course, you can't play bishop here because I want to take your guy. And then this guy, you know, it's pinned. You can't play bishop e6. The question would be for Black if they should improve with knight e7, knight g6, knight f4, or they should just go for immediate bishop h3, which I think a bit too premature. Perhaps a bit too premature. But guys, I got another plan for you. 1, 2, 3. Nah, still 3 tempi. Still 3 tempi. If you want to rearrange, okay, 1, 2, 3. That one still needs to be played. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't see exactly what White can play in the meantime. So I don't see a big attacking looming now that White is just gonna do, and you gotta defend and stuff. I don't see it. There's no big attack that White can play on Black here. There ain't. I don't see it. So we might be able to conclude knight e7, knight g6, knight f4, just fine. It's just fine. Queen to, okay. Queen wants to say you can't play your knight because I'm going to take your rook. One. Secondly, queen to e3, that has just been played, wants to say queen to g5. No, that can't play. That just doesn't make any sense. No, that means they have to spend another tempo, rook a8. Could it be breaking the center? Nah, I know what that is. Okay, I found it. Queen e3 means one thing. Okay, means two things. Apologies. One, I'm still attacking your rook, so you got to be careful. Secondly, I want to push the f. That's what it means. That's exactly what it means. I'm telling you, this is the truth. I swear that's the truth. He wants to play f, and if I take your guy, actually I'm going to have rook and bishop attacking you here. So you might say you need to think about defending that guy. If that is rook h7, where is knight d8, you call it. You tell me which one is it. It's f pawn. He wants to play the f pawn. He wants to play the f pawn because he wants to open the f file. Because he wants to make the rook and the bishop attack together on f7. That is the plan. Is f4 for this very reason we've explained. So now, you can speculate. You can speculate knight d8, rook h7. You tell me what you think, And if you play knight to d8, it's a little bit painful because your plan was knight e7, knight g6, knight f4. But now, maybe you can play rook h7 and then revert back to the idea with knight e7, knight g6, knight f4. But let's see. Anyway, f4 is going to be played. So we need to assume that white is going to push f4. Can you stop it? Not quite really. You can't really stop it. So yeah, you need to figure out how to incorporate this stuff. Let's go back. Oh boy. Ding's gonna play Armageddon, guys. How on earth did he draw? He was supposed to be winning. Wait a minute. He was supposed to be winning. No, that was so cool. He was supposed to be winning. Okay, he played rook f6, by the way. He played rook f6 because he wanted to drop this guy if there's any h5 happening. Queen went away. Bishop f7, of course, sure. Bishop e2. That's so nice. How the hell? Sorry, what was he supposed to be playing? Because I can see from minus 1.7 all of a sudden minus 0.2. What exactly did he miss here? What did he miss here? Did he miss e3? Did he miss e3? Is there anything else? What did he miss? Bishop h5. Further improvement. Bishop h5. The strongest move ever. Bishop in this position. Bishop h5. Why bishop h5? For this? For what? Bishop h5 for this? It might be. Oh, whoa. It might be something in relation with rook g6. Bishop h5 for rook a2, b6. Queen c8. Bishop a3, rook g6. Yes, I was right. Bishop h5 in combination with rook g6. Further pressure applied on g2. Okay, that's cool. And then some bishop g4, I guess, down the road. Some bishop, or maybe rook itself attacking with the knight and with the rook here. Anyway, they drew. Therefore, it's going to be an Armageddon. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about the Armageddon. Prague is going to be white. Ding is going to have to defend and only required to draw in order to win today. He had a big chance to be winning previously against Prague. That little idea, bishop h5 with rook g6 and, more pieces amassed on the king side to attack. Yeah, queen e3 wants to say, I'm going to push f2 to f4 for sure. For sure, that's the consequence of it. I'm pretty sure about this one. I don't think I missed anything of essence, of the essence, that's certainly. What do you play here with what with black? What do you play with black? Can you improve anything, or what are you supposed to play here with black? F5 can't be played. Doesn't work. Rook back in the corner, but then F4 is going to happen regardless. I'm not sure you can stop it. Knight, no. Maybe Rook H7. Let white play this. And then you're going to play this. But then they're going to push this. That's another idea. Taking away the G6 from your knight and limiting you a little bit. It could be. So Rook H7, F4, Rook H7, H4, pawn takes, Queen or Rook takes. This is something. Rook H7, F4, you take, Rook takes. I don't like opening up that F like this. I don't like it. So Rook H7, F2 to F4 to open up and pressurize the F7. And then what? Rook H7, F4. No, he played Queen to G7. Queen to G7. Why? Queen to G7. Why Queen to G7? F2 to F4. So what? Don't tell me it's for this, because I'm going to take your guy, which is only defended once by the queen. Is this the defensive plan he had found? Interesting. Queen to G7, F2 to F4, Rook to G8 for double attack here. Then if you either push or if you take, I'm going to take your guy. Really? But then the Rook's going to take. With check. And then you're going to go here, and then I'm going to give you a discover check. I'm going to take your queen next time. Oh, come on. I'm not sure that works. F4, Rook G8, pawn takes. Ah, it's 90, it's 95. No one cares. 95, and you defend F7 and you attack the attacker, so to speak. That's what it is. Oh, come on. Exactly as I had said. We probably going to see Rook G8. If you don't see Rook G8, nothing makes sense anymore. When white is taken on E5, black is going to take back with the knight if that were to be the case. So Rook H8 to G8, increasing the attack on the knight, which is defended only once, and black attacks it twice. I guess that's the plan. This is Alireza's plan. Rook H to G8. Rook H to G8, double attack on G3. So you're going to have to move that guy. If you play the guy on H5, you're going to get checkmated on G2 right on the spot. So you can't move the knight. You can't move the knight anywhere. You would have to move the king to defend, or rook to F3. One of these two. I don't think you got any other option. There's no other option. Rook H G8, and you have to move king H2 or rook F3. That's the only thing. And that's it. Ooh. Do you think it's something else than rook G8? Really? I don't think there is. I really don't think there is anything else. I don't think it is. It's got to be this. It's got to be this. Rook HJ. Boom. Is it bishop takes h3? Is it bishop takes h3 now? Bishop takes h3. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make sense, but it's too early to do this. Bishop h3, hg, rook takes. So what? They take on e5. Well, knight takes on e5. No, you have to play rook g8 first, right? Or you take on h3, pawn takes, and then you play rook g8. Because you see... Yeah, but then the king moves. Is being twice defended. No, you gotta play rook g8 first. Unless, you know, I mean... What do you play? And there is another thing. We missed another subtlety here. If rook g8 and pawn takes, when you take with the knight, they take your rook. Oh, I need to send that text. I need to send that text. Rook hg, you take, knight takes. No, you can't take. Even if they take your rook, you're going to get checkmated on g2, so you can't move the queen away to just grab a rook. It doesn't work. Okay, rook hg8. Do you think there's anything else, guys? Okay. What's going on with the Armageddon? Ding and Prague. Hey, okay, they haven't started yet. Ding is black. Yeah, he only needs a draw in order to win here. He only needs a draw. Okay. And yeah. Okie dokie. Okay, let's find out now if rook hg8 is actually the best move ever, because it looks to me that that's the best way for... No, he didn't. Oh, this is so interesting. Rook h6. Obviously, you can't take because I'm going to take your queen with check. You can't take, you can't push, you can't do nothing in terms of the f-pawn. There is another thing. There's definitely bishop takes here more likely, because if this guy takes, this guy takes. It's quite a very, 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 very strong battery coming down on the h-file. Okay, let me actually open the door. What's going on? Sorry, guys, we'll be back in a second. I need to open up the door. Okay, I'll be back in a All right. I think we fixed that, though. I think we fixed it. Okay. I think. All right. They didn't move anything. So we've established the f-pawn can't move anything, can't move, can't take, can't do nothing. It is increasingly likely the bishop will sack itself on h3. So they'll be taken on h3. Also important for black, I don't know what white plays next. It could be rook f3 and then it could be rook a f1. That might be very, very, very likely. Rook f3 allows white to take the pawn or push the pawn. Let's just say because rook f3 defends the queen. Rook f3 also makes space for rook a to f1 to making more battery on the f7 together with the bishop. That's the counterplay that white has in the current position. I think it's a very interesting ending here. It could be also black needs to spend another tempo, get the rook back, but it needs so many turns to actually get the rook to do something. So, but as a measure of precautionary measure, you still need to play rook a8 because after, say, pawn takes, and I'm assuming black wants to take back with the knight on c6 to defend the f7 and attack this guy. You need to have the rook to safety on a8. So you still have to play rook a8. So I guess after rook f to f3, rook a8 straight away. And yeah, rook a f1, and then, yeah, you still need to calculate exactly if bishop takes on h3 is actually a good stuff to do. This is definitely something. But if it doesn't end up in a checkmate, we can debate on that. It's debatable. It's a lot of stuff to take care. Rook f3 seems to be, even if the eventuality bishop takes h3, rook f1, f3 is still the best stuff to do. It looks to me. So you still have to play rook f3. Doesn't matter what black continues beyond that point, but rook on f3 defends the queen, keeps an eye on whatever knight might be attacked with, maybe queen, maybe, I don't know, in the future. And maybe you're going to do king f2, king e2, rook f1. Sure, it's definitely safer marching the king over to the e or d file than having the king on g, which is not safe at all. Specifically because of the bishop, because of the battery queen and rook, and yeah, I think you may want to seriously move that king over, but not now. After rook f3. After rook f3, probably you need to spend some time king f2, king a2, and then move the rook. Maybe, in case that the bishop takes and pawn takes, maybe you're going to play rook here, if the knight, assuming it's still on g3. Makes sense. That's good. It's a plan at least, and you should definitely think about it. Whose turn is it? Fabi to play. Yeah, I would go rook f3 here. I think it's the best stuff to do in the current position. Rook f3. You gotta look even... Yeah, no, because they will be taking the queen with tempo. So I understand now by taking the pawn on e5. Nah, that doesn't work. This is ridiculous. No, you have to play rook f3. Rook f3, exactly as we said. Rook f3. And I don't know if black's going to play rook a8. And yeah. I think it's playable. There are some chances. If white gets that king over to e file and then he doubles up the rooks on f, it might be something about the f7 square. After all, it might be something. And you know something? The knight on e5 could potentially be kicked away with d4. So you're retaining your bishop and battery on f7. It's an interesting thought. Maybe d4 could be played. No, rook f3, exactly as I said. Rook f3. That's exactly what I said, my friends. Rook f3. Exactly as I said. That's the safest stuff you could have done. the safest, the most attacking, the most promising move, it's exactly rook f3 for white. And now black, you probably need to drop the rook following this and then this. You're gonna trade queens or not? Maybe that's not. That's another idea. Should you play bishop e6 just to take this bishop out of the game? Bishop e6. If bishop takes, queen takes, you're still maintaining queen and rook attacking over to the h. It's important that this bishop disappears. That's important too. So if you're asking black, are you worried about a bishop on c4? Black would say, yeah, of course I am. So you may need to play bishop e6 now because the queen is here, so you can just take it back very nicely. Maybe bishop e6. Rook a8, it's another stuff in terms of if pawn takes, knight takes back. You know, so you're not losing your rook. Now, I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever to play bishop c8 taken on h3. You're gonna kind of lose. I mean, you take with the queen, but is there a checkmate for real? I don't think so. I don't think there's a check. Mate. I don't think there's a checkmate. No, there's no checkmate. It's interesting. It has to be calculated accurately. Now that's actually quite exciting. Hey, they study Armageddon, guys. I hope you don't mind if I go quickly now and looking at Prague and Ding. It's only like 15 minutes or something. Prague has to win. Ding only needs to draw. The game currently looks like it could be achievable very much as a draw because two minor pieces have been traded. I guess black need to figure out if they castle long or if they castle short here. What's the deal? Nah, you can't read. That was a Sicilian, right? No, that was no Sicilian. That was a Trompovsky. That was a Trompovsky. I thought it was a Sveshnikov at some point. I had a feeling it was a Sveshnikov, but no. I mean, looks a little bit resembles. By the way, given the fact there is no light square bishop on d3, that is, you could definitely castle here without the being worried excessively about a bishop and stuff. So that's cool. Also, there is another thing looming here. If this pawn were to be advancing, yeah, I was about to say if this pawn was attacking and knight goes c2 is hanging, but they just played it. As I had explained, you know, if this guy were to move and you play the knight, the queen can just take here. So you got to be careful about that one. You're having whites. c3 just solved the problem, exactly as we've explained. Rook to h8 means that the rook now can come into play. We've got to be careful about f7. So do you do this one first in order for the queen to defend f7 and then you play this? We're going to have very many questions now because that's Armageddon. And what does this mean? Very simply, it means knight f6, my friends. It means knight f6 attacking the queen. That's exactly as I said. Probably you've noticed that one as well. So knight f6 attacks the queen. And if you attack the knight, bishop's going to go on e7. Or queen. Okay. So, I mean, that was also a possibility. Queen to e7. Queen to e7. Also, you got to be a little bit careful here. Okay. In terms of this, and you can't really move the knight. So you have to play this and this ASAP. Like ASAP. Hello, Hafez. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, man. c4 here. Yeah, of course he wants to open up the rook. Yeah, sure, take the pawn. I need to open up the d file. Of course. I'm not sure you should be worrying about this one. Now, if they take, though, you got to take with the pawn, not with the knight, because there's always this. It's just a little bit worrying. I think black might be considering rook g8, rook g6 right at this very moment. Forget about a pawn. I think it's important. Rook g8 for defensive, offensive purposes, because rook g8, just in case you ever think to be taking with the knight. So he took with the pawn. I think that's for the best. Of course, you take with the pawn. This one is also good because it attacks the queen, or you place it on g7, and then you get the other rook and you attack on g2. What's not to like about it? I think it's good. And if you throw in the knight, I think it's really promising. I think it's really, really, really promising. So maybe Dingley Ren will be able in the next 4 minutes and 55 seconds, maybe he'll be able to draw so that he's actually getting the first win in this tournament for him. It's gonna be a bit tough, but that would be so good for his psyche. That would be amazingly positive as a result for Dingley Ren. That would be really good for him, for his mental state would be amazing. It's working wonders if you manage to pull a victory at this level after this streak of losses. It really works like magic if you manage to win. So I think the ideas for black are relatively clear. White needs more power if they want to threaten something on the h7. And mind you, this guy is incredibly active. The bishop on d6 is great. Exactly, I mean, it's not too much you can think about. Just placing a knight here, moving h if there is a rook, and then replacing it like this. So that's what white can and should play. Mind you guys, just to remind you, black only needs a draw. So the onus to forcing the victory is exclusively on Prague's shoulders. Ding doesn't need to do anything in particular, apart from draw. Now, if he can win, that's phenomenal, but a draw is more than enough. Anyway, let's see. I think it's very exciting. I really like it. So I think I'm going to stay with this one rather than Fabi, because these guys are actually blitzing now. They're blitzing the moves. They're playing blitz. So let's just see what they do here. Rook a d8. Rook a d8. White can reply exactly as that. Now, there is a... Okay, he wants to double up now. Okay. Well, if they want to double up, you can't stop them. Okay, let them double. Oh, yeah. So what I wanted to say is that, yeah, h4 comes with a caveat. They could actually play this. So h4 vacates the square for the black knight to play on g4. If they ever want to do that, of course they can. And also they might be able to push f6 and kick the white knight away anyway. All right. Rook g6. I did say ages about the rook g6. Attacks the queen. You gotta have to move the queen. And now double up exactly as I said ages ago. I said about rook g6 and rook g8 looking down at g2. And also I said about knight, but that does a bit more. It attacks the bishop twice. You're going to have to play bishop to b8. I think you're going to have to play bishop to b8. Why? Maybe you're going to play queen to c7 at some point, and maybe you can check the guy like this, h2, h1 and stuff like this. So I think bishop b8 would be better than bishop c7 for all the good reasons ever. Bishop b8 definitely good. Do you know what's the funny stuff? There is a subtlety. Bishop c7 stops rook to d8. So that is important. It's important you maintain the rooks as a battery. I'm not sure you want to play king to g7. It's just awful. So there are two big subtleties here. Okay, he's a smart guy. He's an absolutely... I hope he gets back to its original shape, mental shape, sharpness. He gives the rook for this. No, you can't. It's bloody pinned. He blundered. He blundered again. I think he blundered. h6 doesn't work. The king is... It didn't work, man. I mean, the idea was interesting, but the pawn is pinned. Oh, Christ. No. He blundered in the Armageddon. Okay, I'm sorry. He's really not... No, you can't do that. He blundered. I think he was supposed to play bishop c7, bishop b8. I'm no super grandmaster, but I think I'm correct about that one. No, you can't do this. He blundered, guys. Oh, Christ. Let's go back a bit. What is saying the almighty? Bishop g3, bishop h2. Even bishop h2 check because you take the protection for the knight. I guess bishop c7, bishop b8 are playable. Well, definitely are more playable than the h6 move that he just played. Okay, he can't concentrate. He can't keep the focus on. Bishop g3, bishop h2 would be an interesting idea. Bishop f4, another crazy looking like, but so is bishop c7 or bishop b8 that awful? No, even my lousy idea wins. Even my horrible idea, bishop c7 is better. I said bishop c7. No, wait. Knight f3, wait a minute. Rook d7, and if the knight takes, wait a minute. If the knight takes, yeah, I'm dropping is the checkmate on h7. It's checkmate on h7 because the knight on f6 has disappeared. There's no more defense for the h7. That was the problem. He had to maintain, he had to kick the battery away. He had to dismantle the battery. Because that one runs into this problem. And you can't fix it. You can't fix it. So bishop b4 definitely dismantles the battery. There is no more rook working together for anything. Bishop b4 and you have to move the rook. No more battery. And that's just perfect. Yeah, well, easier said than done, and easier when the stockfish makes the move, doesn't it? Bishop b4, you're going to have to move the rook. Whatever that is, but you're going to have to move a rook. And then you can do stuff. Then you can do whatever things you wanted to play. Probably they work. Sorry, it's very difficult. Bishop b4, rook moves away. Yeah, but then we got this, and it's really tough. It's really tough here. h6 doesn't work. Sorry, he had a very good first game. A very good first game. I think he loses focus at some point. He probably gets easily tired, fatigued, or something happens. He loses focus, and he just drops it. Something happens. Something doesn't stay connected. Yeah, there's definitely something that has to be addressed. I'm really sorry for the guy. Really sorry for the guy. Yeah. Bishop c, that doesn't work. It's a little bit compromised here. Bishop c7, bishop b8, they do not work because still rook d7. When you drop the knight, the h7 is completely checkmate in a move. I'm so sorry. For Ding. That was tough. Really tough. Really tough for him. Oh my god. Whoa. Wow. All right. Let me just refresh the page now. Just very briefly seeing what these guys are doing. Whoa. What is the moves? Why can't I? Okay, rook f3, knight f6, rook f1, bishop g4. If you take, probably going to be queen h2 check. But then you're going to go on f2. Where's the next? Oh, of course. It's knight g4 and I take your queen. So look at this one, guys. If pawn takes, we've got check. King must move. And then we got knight g4 checking the king and taking the queen off the board. Bishop g4 and also bishop g4 attacks the rook. That's just great. So when you take it, actually you do lose the queen. If you take it, you lose the queen. You absolutely lose the queen. Knight h5, further increasing the pressure here on this guy and on this guy. Yeah. What happens if you take on e5 though? If pawn takes on e5, having triple attack here. Or do you take straight away? Hello Interstellar, long time no see my friend, how's it going? Knight takes. Bishop takes. Bishop because you're defending here as well. So after this move, you can't really play this, can you? Because the rook is undefended by the knight. So if you move the knight on c6, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. You can't take the queen, will be disappearing. You can't take on e5, you can't push the pawn, you can't take the pawn. You can't do nothing. In terms of this pawn, you can't do nothing. And also you can't play rook f3 because the bishop. Whoa, my god, what a great find. What a great find by Ali Reza. What a great find. You can't move the pawn. You can't take, you can't push. There's no problem. What a great find. Fabulous. So you could actually play rook here. It's going to take you a bit of time. How do you get that rook actually to do something? The rook on a7. How do you get that rook to produce some attacking ideas? Maybe you need to play rook a8, rook e8, rook e7. That's more than enough, I guess. Maybe. I mean, it's just painful to keep the rook on a7. You have to do something with that rook. You still need to drop the rook. Well, if you play queen g3, probably going to be this. Attacking you like this. So queen on g3 is not the most ideal square for the white queen. You still need to move that queen somewhere. If you don't move the queen, you can't push the pawn, you can't take the pawn, you can't do nothing. You can't use the light squares as well. I think it's still a minus. I think it's a -1. No, not a -1, but why do I feel that actually black is doing way better? Queen g3, I did say queen g3. Queen g3, rook a8, I did say that. Bishop b3, okay, sure. ef4. Very difficult. I had the feeling that actually black is doing better. Hello, Santoj. Yeah, just keep doing this. Keep being persistent. Yeah. Have you joined a local club, Raj? Maybe it would be very, very beneficial for you if you join a local club. Apart from the stuff you say that you do, which is very good anyway. So apart from the stuff you're saying, it's important to join a local club, and that might be having some very good stuff happening. You're meeting the other experienced players. A local club, a chess local club. You don't know what's a chess local? It's a local club in your neighborhood, like. Yeah. So this one, apparently, it's being given now as being very much equal. But looks to me that black has some potential stuff here. It's not very easy actually to get the rook here to do something. You need 2-3 tempi to get that black rook to do something. This rook doesn't do a great deal of nothing. The rook on a7. The knight on c6 has to stay here to replace the pawn, just if anything. They can't take now because they dropped the white queen. It's got to be somewhere a chess club in your area, right? You got to Google it. You got to find it out. What is the nearest chess club you might be joining? What does move do? The bishop wants to say I'm going to remove the knight that defends the black rook so I can take the black rook. That's about it in just simple terms, and I think it's quite efficient. Yeah, Hafez, absolutely. Rook g8, always a move. Yeah. Now rook move to safety, which I did say though very many times. Queen g3, I did mention that idea. So now you can capture moving up the pawn, not a problem. No more pin from the black queen. That's another good idea, Interstellar, I guess. Yes, 960 chess, just to keep it applied for the tactics. Yeah, that's a good idea. So it's got to be a positive change if you join a chess club and if you just do your tactics. It's gotta be some very good outcome for you. Yeah, it's not gonna happen in the first week or the second week, so you don't have to look like this. Um, just keep doing the good work, and the results will appear when they appear. In the meantime, just really do enjoy the progress and enjoy the games you're playing, and do your best tactics, do your best effort. Also, looking at these guys when they play, and just try to understand as much as possible, and try to figure out yourself ways for white, ways for black, and see if you could get yourself, in the same frame like these guys, the same thinking, like the same guy, like these guys. I think that's another exercise, another type of exercise for you, for anybody, for everybody, really. Okay, queen to g3 moves away. Rook to g8, totally. Absolutely, rook to g8. Why not rook to g8? There's something subtle here. After rook g8, we need to... Nah, it's not going to work. No, it's not going to work. Does it? No, it's not going to work. I'm talking nonsense. No, rook g8, you have to move the queen. Yes, yes, of course. You can think like that guy. Yeah, you need to think like that guy consistently. Yeah. Okay. It's good to be optimistic, sure. Queen to g3. Rook to g8, and you have to move the queen. And you just have to move the queen. I don't see any other tactics here. You have to save the queen somehow. Maybe here. Because then that means that the bishop is pinned, and then you can play g4 and get the guy's queen. Maybe. Anyway, queen to h4 is safe. After rook g8, Hafez, after rook g8, I guess queen h4 is the correct move, being white. And again, still a lot of things to be calculated here. It's not over. Ideally, you would like to get the other rook from a8 over to do something, to f or something, but you need to move the king out of the attacks. How do you move that? Because following queen h4, you cannot. Now look at this choice. Queen to g7. He tries to trade off pieces in order to get... Actually, he wants to do this. Queen takes, king takes, and he dreams to getting the other rook in action. That's what he want to do. And then dropping the king back on f8. Queen takes, king takes, and if everything is controllable, maybe rook to g8, rook a to g8. And if you manage to get the extra piece to do the work, you need that extra material to actually do something. If you get the extra, then it should be more powerful. Oh yes, I agree, Interstellar. I absolutely agree. Human mind not being an engine, you would have to, keep practicing. And the idea is you just need to absolutely love it. Uh, if you don't love it, I don't think you should be doing it really. You should be doing something else. Uh, yes, queen takes, king takes, and yeah, well, white can play stuff. Probably not take, because if you take, you're gonna activate this guy's knight who was attacking a lot of stuff. So after queen takes and king takes, you don't take, but you could push the pawn potentially. Maybe you push the pawn, or maybe you play something else. Maybe you play king h2. Difficult to say. It's a bit difficult to say. Far from over. This is far from over. Let me look at the pawns. 4, 4, 8, 4, 2, 6. Okay, 6 black pawns, 8 white pawns, a very powerful bishop, a battery on the f-file. Theoretically, white would like to open up the f-file, don't they? But I need to make sure knight isn't here. How do we achieve that? Can we play b4 and b5? Takes and takes. Maybe you can send the knight away so you can take the pawn and actually really attack in here. Seriously, it could be. It's a very many question marks here. Very many question marks here for white and for black as well. Not just for white. There's many things you need to factor in. Queen's trade. Yeah, you can trade the queens, of course. Queen's trade. King takes. You're gonna be. You kind of need the queen, don't you? And there is another thing. If you play queen to h4, it's not good at all, because as soon as the bishop goes, wherever they go, you're gonna be attacked by the rook, and then they're gonna be taking you the rook on f1 or something, if not even worse. So you have to be incredibly careful about this kind of stuff. Queen can't move on h4. Queen h4, and then bishop goes, and the black rook attacks the queen. So you can't do queen h4. If you don't like the trade, you gotta move again. But if you move again, where do you go? Do you go back on e3? You go on e3, or you go on... If you go on h2, can you go on h2? I guess you can. Is this that great? Play queen h2 now? I'm not sure it's that great. I'm really not that sure. Queen h2, queen e3. Queen h4, I think, can be discarded. It's just a losing move. You're losing on the spot. You can't do... So it's only queen h2, queen takes h7, or queen e3. It's one of these three. It's got to be one of these. Takes e3, h2. That's the only one. Unless queen g5. Let them take, so you can take and actually attack 3 times on f7. That's another idea. It's this. That's another idea. If you think it's safe enough, though. Queen takes, pawn takes. Ideally, that doesn't mean the other guy has to do as you hope to. So queen g5. And if they take, you take, and you have your double rook and the bishop attacking. But you need to assume, what if they don't take? So you play queen g5. No, he took, of course. Yeah. Well, king takes. Why would you waste any more tempo here? King takes, and then we're going to see rook a to g8, king to f8 back, and maybe some knight to e7 getting this guy. But actually the bishop is going to drop. Of course, they're not going to be letting you taking, or maybe they're going to take here. So you must be careful about that one too. What do you play here? Do you play this? Oh, look at this one, Hafez. Look at this one, mate. G4. G4. So I take and you take and I take back. And I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, it looks like you kind of like lost the material. I mean, gets now equalized more or less. Or bishop g6. If you do bishop g6, it's no, he took on f. Wait a minute. He took on f. He wants to go for the f7 actually. Oh boy. What do you do? Question is, what do you do? If you capture here, you're going to have also this you got to figure out. So if knight takes c5, they temporarily defend f7, but then you're going to run into d4. And that kicks the knight away. Therefore, again, you're going to be remaining with only 2 defenders. So he took with the pawn. Still 2 defenders. So white can definitely take. Of course. And they just taken, guys. Bishop takes. And if you take back now, they're going to check you. Have we got a perpetual, guys? We're going to see an Armageddon. That's going to be a perpetual now. There's no checkmate, I think, but there's definitely a perpetual check right here, ladies and gents. And then they're going to play an Armageddon. Bishop takes, rook takes, check. I don't know. You go up, down. Yeah, the other rook checks. You're going to go here. You don't have a checkmate? Do you? Check. Where do you go? No. Okay, more stuff gets traded now. So you take here, Rook's gonna take, rook's gonna take, rook's gonna take. If you retain one little piece here, that matters so much. That does matter so much. Okay, what do you play with white? Did white take, actually? Let me refresh the page. I don't want to... No, he didn't take. Rook AF8. He wants to take here. Rook AF8. What does white play? Do you go back? Because it looks to me if you trade, you're helping black. You're helping black. Pieces are going to come off. Rooks are going to get traded, and then he's going to keep a knight. And that's very strong for black. So are they going to play bishop back or taking? If you take, rook takes with tempo, rook takes, and then rook takes here. I think you just lost the game. You have just lost the game. Therefore, bishop d5. Or maybe bishop c4, bishop, or maybe bishop e2, so that the knight doesn't attack you with tempo or anything. Difficult. Difficult. 12 minutes for Fabi and 8 minutes 51 for Alireza here. It's a lot taking place. 4, 3, 7, 4. 3 extra white pawns. And a very difficult ending. A very, very, very difficult ending. Would you trade here, guys, or would you keep your bishop on the board? That's a very good question. And there is something else. If you go, let's say, bishop to a2, or whatever you want to move the bishop to safety along this diagonal, let's say. Do you know what? Well, they're going to be playing what? Bishop g6? They can't play bishop f7 to forcing you trade in. But they could play knight to d8 and then bishop f7, forcing you to trade off more pieces. So let's say bishop a2, knight d8. In order to sort of playing this? Nah, that's just too slow. No, you can't do this. It's just horrible to getting the knight on the back rank, hoping for a trade. You just go for the rook straight away. Rook takes, rook takes, rook plays. Just trade off everything. Yeah, if you don't want to trade, bishop e6 can be thought of. Yeah, bishop e6, of course. Bishop e6, bishop d5, c4, b3, a2. I guess they all come with another story. Yeah, bishop d5 back. Yeah, all of these squares, interstellar, all of the squares have their particular story. Bishop e6, d5, c4, b3, a2. And now black, if black wants, they could go for the trade, or they go knight e7. So you could trade or knight e7. Now, which one is it? Knight e7 takes the rook, rook takes, rook plays. And you either take my guy, I take it back, or I take you. Yeah, so he took, and now rook f8. Okay. Yeah, I'll be done in like 1 minute, 2 minutes or something. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So I'm going to let you now, guys, to continuing the remainder of the game. Thanks very much for being here, people. If everything goes in order, guys, I think tomorrow we're going to be seeing the 8th round. So thanks very much, and see you guys tomorrow evening. Sub to the channel if you haven't done it, and if you've done it, thank you very much. And yeah, that's cool.